Her blood hit the floor, and every human in the room silently backed away. Not out of fear, out of recognition. Out of that instinctive, bone-deep understanding only their species carried, the one warning that something irreversible had just begun. On the suspended mining rig called Redline 4, where the metal groaned from constant stress and the gas giant below spat orange lightning through the viewing grates, the silence after the impact felt unnatural. Machinery hummed, steam hissed through cracked pipes, but inside Training Chamber Delta, it was as if the entire rig held its breath. The alien instructor didn't notice the shift. He only shook out his hand as if annoyed by dust. His name was Instructor Vrocht, a towering Vesher with metallic plates running down his arms like segmented armor. A species built for vacuum work, bred for pressure, designed to dominate physically, at least, that's what he believed. His voice rumbled through the chamber, as he looked down at the human girl he had just struck. "A corrective blow," he said. "Barely a tap." The girl didn't answer. She just stood there, head tilted slightly, blood running down from the break in her nose. Zara Hale. 19. Engineering cadet. Human. Too small to stand out among the trainees from volcanic worlds, ocean planets, frost moons. Too quiet to draw attention in a place full of booming voices and clattering armor. But the way the other humans reacted, stepping back in the exact same moment, made several non-humans glance around in confusion. They didn't understand why that synchronized retreat sent cold vibrations through the metal floor. Zara's eyes hadn't changed yet. They were still the same steady dark brown that had made the rig's security cams mistake her for bored half the time. But her breathing slowed, deepened, became something measured and disturbingly calm. Vrocht didn't see it. He was too busy addressing the rest of the students clustered around the ring. Dune-striped Malcari, crystalline talons, the eel-like Evok. "Humans lack structural reinforcement," he lectured, flexing the plates of his arm. "They require discipline more than any other species. Their bodies are fragile. See?" He gestured at the blood on his palm. "Proof." No one spoke. Not even the loudest species dared. Zara raised her hand and wiped her nose. The blood smeared across her knuckles, but she didn't wince, didn't flinch, didn't give Vrocht the satisfaction of seeing pain. Instead, she looked at the blood as if assessing it. As if measuring something invisible. "You finished?" she asked softly. Vrocht blinked. "Finished? Human, I have barely begun to." She inhaled slowly. "Because that was the last clean hit you'll ever land on me." A ripple went through the gathering. Not noise, movement. Energetic tension. The kind that suggests people are unconsciously shifting closer to exits. Vrocht barked a laugh. "You misunderstand your position, cadet. You are being trained. You do not issue warnings." Zara's nose dripped again. A thin red line hit the metal flooring with a soft pat. She didn't look at him when she responded. She looked at the blood spreading beneath her boots. "Not a warning. A measurement." Vrocht squinted. "A measurement of what?" "The time I have left before this gets difficult for you." The instructor tilted his head. "Difficult? You can barely stand upright. You should apologize," Zara said quietly. Several species went rigid. Humans exchanged looks filled with silent horror. Vrocht puffed himself up, metallic plates expanding with the movement. "Apologize? Do you think you frighten me?" Zara's gaze lifted slowly until it locked with his. "Not yet." Those two words hit him harder than his blow had hit her. The chamber lights flickered. The rig trembled as the gas giant below let out another thunderous burst of magnetic storms. A vibration ran through the deck plating, rattling the metal harnesses hanging from the rafters. The vibration faded, but the tension in the training ring did not. "You're bleeding," Vrocht said, trying to regain authority. "A sign of weakness." Zara exhaled once, long and controlled. "Or a sign that my system is waking up." He frowned. "Explain. You're really going to stand there and wait for it to happen?" she asked. "What," he snapped, "is supposed to happen?" Zara looked down again. At the blood. At the floor. at the faint reflection of her own face. Then she whispered, 30 seconds. Vrock froze. What about 30 seconds? He asked, his voice quieter now. It's how long it takes, she said, for my body to switch modes. Whispers erupted through the crowd, confused, alarmed, hushed. Zara continued, her tone so calm it made every word feel like a blade quietly being sharpened. When you broke my nose, you gave my system a signal. Pain. Threat. Damage. She wiped her face again, careless. Humans are built with an emergency pathway for moments exactly like this. Vrock took a step back before realizing he had moved. Embarrassment flashed across his expression. You speak nonsense. Humans are soft. Vulnerable. Training accidents happen all the time. And some accidents, Zara murmured. Get back. Vrock scoffed, but the sound lacked conviction. Even if humans possessed some primitive survival boost, it would be irrelevant against a Vesher. My plates alone can withstand vacuum compression. My arms can. You have 20 seconds left. The chamber fell dead silent. Every species present could feel something shifting. Not around Zara, inside her. A subtle tightening of posture. A slight dilation of pupils. A drop in shoulder tension that paradoxically made her look more dangerous, not less. Zara rolled her neck slowly. Something popped. I'm being kind by counting, she added. Kind? Vrock stammered before catching himself. Human, you are not dangerous. You are. 15, she whispered. The instructor's throat worked as he swallowed. Metal plates along his arms clinked as he accidentally flexed too hard. You can stop this, Zara said. Just say you're sorry. Mean it. Walk away. Her voice was soft enough that everyone had to lean in. Or don't. And you'll find out why my species survived a world that crushed others. Vrock snarled, more out of rising panic than authority. I will not apologize to a weak. 10. Vrock's mouth snapped shut so fast his teeth clicked. Humans in the back took another synchronized step away. Zara didn't move. She didn't need to. Something else was moving inside her, coiling, gathering, focusing. A low hum filled the chamber as the rig stabilized its rotation. Steam drifted from a cracked pipe above, swirling lazily around her shoulders as if drawn to her tension. 5. Vrock raised his arm, more defensive than offensive. 4. The lights flickered again. 3. Her breathing deepened. 2. Her eyes sharpened like lenses autofocusing. 1. Zara smiled, small, cold, inevitable. Time's up. One instant Zara stood in front of him, small, bleeding, still, and the next instant the space she occupied was empty, as if gravity had blinked and misplaced her. Several trainees gasped. One dropped their training baton. A crystalline talon's entire body chimed in alarm. Zara didn't shout. Didn't roar. Didn't telegraph anything. She simply appeared at Vrock's side, a blur shaped like a human. He recoiled instinctively, metal plates clacking as he jerked his arm up to block. Too slow. Zara's hand wrapped around his forearm just above the joint, her fingers locking with a precision that felt engineered rather than learned. She didn't squeeze. She didn't muscle anything. She shifted, just a subtle rotation of her hips and a tightening of her shoulders. 3 things happened at once. A sickening crack erupted through the training chamber. Vrock screamed, the sound raw and metallic, echoing against the steel walls. And his arm, his pressure-hardened, vacuum-forged arm, folded in half like softened tin. Gasps turned into shouts. Bodies scrambled backward. Even the largest species recoiled into the corners. Zara held him for one more heartbeat, studying him the way a mechanic studies a misbehaving machine, and then released him. Vrock dropped to his knees, clutching the ruined limb as greenish fluid seeped through the cracked plates. His breaths came in high-pitched bursts. The mighty Vesher instructor looked suddenly very small. Zara stood over him, not panting, not trembling, just still. Whatever transformation had lit her nerves like a fuse was still humming in her muscles, but she kept it contained, controlled. You shouldn't have hit me, she said quietly. Her voice wasn't threatening. It wasn't angry. It wasn't even triumphant. It was factual. Vrock wheezed. Impossible. Your bones, your strength, no human. You don't understand humans, Zara said, wiping the last of the blood from her face. Everyone thinks we're fragile because we look fragile. But our systems don't work the way yours do. She crouched slightly, not enough to intimidate, not needing to. My people learned to break predators much bigger than you when we were still learning to make fire. Vrock flinched at the softness in her tone. She didn't sound proud. She sounded like she pitied him. One of the Malkari trainees whispered. She didn't even use full force. A Talon answered. That wasn't aggression. That was restraint. The humans said nothing. They simply watched. The silence was broken by the door slamming open. A team of medics stormed in, 4 species, each carrying equipment for emergency trauma. Their eyes widened in unison when they saw Vrock's arm hanging at an anatomically insulting angle. What happened? The lead medic demanded, kneeling beside him. He corrected her, said a Yvok trainee, still trembling. Zara corrected him back, murmured one of the humans. The medics worked quickly, stabilizing the shattered limb, injecting numbing compounds, clamping cracked plates. Vrock winced with every touch. Zara stepped aside to give them space, the adrenaline still simmering in her system but beginning to fade. Every few seconds a tiny shiver ran through her fingers, micro-tremors common in human post-adrenaline come-downs. But her face remained calm. She didn't even touch her healed-over nose. One of the medics, a broad-shouldered Urzai, looked at her with astonishment. You didn't retaliate out of anger, he said. Your expression, your pulse, completely controlled. Zara shrugged. Would have been worse if I'd been angry. Every species in the room stared at her. Vrock blinked heavily, drugged and shivering. How are you, built this way? You read our files? Zara replied. But you didn't understand them. Humans didn't evolve to be safe. We evolved to survive. And survival doesn't care about symmetry or armor or what looks dangerous. Vrock swallowed hard, pain distorting every breath. I never meant. Yeah, Zara said softly. But intent doesn't stop biology. Her voice wasn't cruel. It held a rare kind of honesty, one that made several trainees shift uncomfortably. The chamber doors slid open again. This time, it wasn't medics. It was the rigged marshal. A towering insectoid figure in reinforced exoplates stepped forward, its 6 eyes scanning the scene with unsettling precision. Workers scattered when the marshal appeared. It only showed up for events that required investigation or restraint. Its voice buzzed, distorted by translation tech. Report. The room remained silent, every non-human looking at each other, unsure who should dare to speak. Zara stepped forward. Instructor Vrock struck me during a training correction. I warned him his strike activated my survival response. He chose not to step away. You broke his arm. Yes, Zara answered plainly. A beat. Another. Another. The marshal's antennae flicked as it assessed the scene, the trembling instructor, the pooling greenish fluid, the wide-eyed trainees. Finally it asked, was this preventable? Absolutely, Zara said. He could have apologized and stepped back. A strange stillness filtered through the room. The marshal's next words carried the weight of policy. Human biological escalation protocols are documented on all stations. Was the instructor briefed? No, Zara said. He wasn't. The marshal turned to the medics. Record, responsibility lies with the unbriefed party. Vrock groaned in humiliation. The marshal continued, its voice coldly efficient. Cadet Hale, you acted according to your species' involuntary survival mechanism. No penalty. Zara nodded. And, the marshal added, you displayed exceptional restraint. Every species in the room looked at her differently now, not like prey, not like anomaly, but like something ancient and unreasonably capable. Vrock, barely conscious, lifted his head enough to croak. Why didn't you kill me? Zara met his eyes. Because you didn't mean to start a fight, she said. And humans only finish the fights someone insists on. The marshal signaled an end to the session. Trainees were dismissed. Medics carried Vrocht out on a floating gurney. The room emptied slowly, everyone giving Zara several meters of respectful space as they passed. A human trainee approached her. You okay? Yeah. She rolled her shoulder. Just hungry. He snorted. You want to talk about what just happened? No, Zara said, walking toward the exit. I want lunch. And behind her, the fear, awe, confusion, and whispered theories of dozens of alien species spread like wildfire across the rig. Stories about the small human girl whose blood hit the floor, and who counted down from 30 like it was a death sentence. Stories that would travel far beyond Redline 4. Stories that would change how the galaxy measured danger. Because the aliens learned something new that day. Humans don't look dangerous. Until the moment they are.